Good evening and welcome to the Grand at Home. It is Friday night at the Grand at Home, and of course that means cocktail hour. And tonight we have a great guest, a fun friend and colleague. We're going to welcome to our stream tonight entrepreneur and artist and agent, the you name it, and my pal Lisa Rock. Lisa, thanks for being with us today.
Hello. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. I'm gonna move back a little bit. You're smaller than me.
How's that? Oh.
Wait a minute. Wait, I got an idea. Let's try this one.
Oh, yeah, very nice. Now you can get a good view of my basement office here. Walk you around there.
If I opened up the doors behind me, you'd see the laundry. So
lovely.
I've actually taken over the family room from my home office as part of the quarantine temporary expansion of life at home. So,
right.
So the Grand at Home is really the Grand at Home, and certainly I want to point out to our listeners, thanks for joining us. Tonight is a straight up interview, conversation, cocktail. Tomorrow is the big day for those of you who are, and I know you are because I can already see the comments, excited for the show tomorrow. And this is a great gift for the Grand at Home. We've had people giving us all kinds of glimpses into their talent. But you're giving us a whole show, and that's going to be great fun. Let's talk about that for a little bit while we're here.
Yeah.
This show was taped at another venue, but it is a beautiful video, and it'll be great. Everything but the popcorn, and you're on your own for that tomorrow night. So
hey, it's pretty cheap at my grocery store right now. So yeah, I've got plenty. So it's nice to get to sit back and do that. Yeah, this was a great friend of ours that Josh Benson at the Marion Cultural and Civic Center in Marion, Illinois. We did that about 2 years ago, and he's just a master editor. For sound, video, etc., and put this together for us, and I couldn't be prouder. Couldn't be prouder.
Really done a fabulous job.
Yeah.
And this is an interactive show, which is which we'll start with Tom, and that you are the reason, Tom. Your comment is what led me to point out that tomorrow night is the night. You not only get Lisa, you get all the backup singers, you get all your favorite Carpenters tunes. Tonight, you just get to know her a little bit first. So,
That's good. I like that.
And of course, this show sold out the Grand about a year ago, almost.
It is. It's a year and like 2 weeks ago, I think. You were the last show, I think, of our season last year. Yeah.
And I think, and Bob, I think, is must have been in the audience, either there or at the Grand or somewhere else, because he's going to enjoy watching you again tomorrow night.
Oh, thanks, Bob.
So again, I encourage you. Feel free to put your questions up as we go on here, and we'll talk. I gave you, Lisa, all of this this varied introduction, and we'll get to the Carpenters show, of course, because that is kind of
what we do. But also we're friends. I haven't seen you. I've talked to you, but we don't get to see each other. I'm like, yeah, we both have got our hairs. This is actually shorter for me. I will admit, I did my own quarantine cut. It's in color. Did a little color. It was just fine. I think I'm okay. I think I'm all right for now. So we'll see.
This is pretty much 1977 for me right here. The bang has come down. It's with the quarantine wave or whatever. It's.
You could be the Carpenters drummer.
That's right.
Cubby O'Brien. Yeah, Cubby had that 70s haircut going on. You could totally do that. Come on now. I'd appreciate that.
That's right. Yeah,
70s is kind of in.
Once I got the sticks in my hand, you wouldn't appreciate it at all.
No, me neither. I don't try to pretend that's my skill. It's definitely not.
Well, I asked you this question once, and you did answer it by saying you did do a little bit. Karen, of course, was a great drummer.
Yes.
And so, of course, me being me and just getting to know you, asked if you were going to drum it all during the show.
Yeah, and I have a moment that I'll do during the show, but the minute I start singing, I lose all sense of rhythm and myself completely, and think, well, let's leave it to the actual drummer versus what I'm going to do, and I'll just focus on singing. It's really amazing because she really did consider herself a drummer that sang. Isn't that incredible with that voice? And she's still considered one of the best. She's in every one of those top 10, top 5 singers of all time, truly, in any of those lists, especially in the last 50 years. It's always her.
It's such a unique voice, and I think that that when you listen to it casually, you don't realize that as a woman, her range was practically my range as a male singer.
Yeah,
there's this incredible low breath to what it is. And one of the things I enjoy most about your performance is you have a voice that you have this range that allows you to sing in the original key. And I imagine a lot of folks have to transpose Carpenter's tunes up a little bit.
They do. I think there's a few out there that can do it. I'm not, I've not seen any of the other shows that are out there. But for ours, it's just easily in my range. And for me to do it, what I wanted to do to honor them, not dress like them, not, try to be that. That's not what this is about for us, but to honor the music because it's the music that they're remembered for. And so doing that in the original key, I wouldn't have done it if I couldn't, because that's what, I think that's what really touched people, because so many women, and still to this day, come up to me with that and say, I couldn't sing anything else on the radio, but I could sing her. It was my speaking voice. Right. And that meant a lot to people. So she was so accessible for that. And it wasn't about a show for them, right? It was about just listening to that music, and they were all just stellar musicians. Like I have the privilege, of having. I have that same thing, but it's that's what moves me about it so much, is you hear her soul in it, because it's just so, it comes out of her. It seems like, right, out of the depths of her soul, and at such a young age. Think about being 19 singing close to you. Can you imagine that?
It's pretty amazing. And what also is kind of astounding, and we know who have lived through it, but someone now who is younger and just enjoying the music, maybe for the first time, don't realize how little time we had with Karen Carpenter.
Truly. Yes. I mean, gosh, and we stayed 14 years, but it really wasn't because she was ill for so much of that time. They weren't on the road any longer after 78, I believe it was. And they didn't get to see her in the same way. So she really, we've been on the road longer, than they technically were on the road. And that I am not anywhere near done. I am not even close. I could do this for as long as the voice and everything holds out. I don't want to leave. So for them, no, it was not enough time. And for her public to not have enough of that, because it really was astonishing people that saw her, which they were such perfectionists about their music sounding like what it sounded like on the radio. So they really respected what they did and respected their fans with so much love. Nobody got enough. And I have so many men that come up to me. Gosh, I remember there's a gentleman, I don't even remember the state any longer where we were, but this man came up to me and I could see he had big tears in his eyes, and I could tell just looking at him, and he said, it took him a while to talk to me. And he said, she's what got me through the service. And he had a Vietnam vet.
Wow.
And that's all he could get out. He put his hand out, he shook my hand, and then I embraced him, and that was all I could get. And then the tears dropped and he was out of there. So, people just adored her, and she meant so much to them.
I mean, I don't do this, so I don't know this, but I would suspect when you do a tribute show, a tribute to the music, not necessarily to the look or the whatever, but a tribute to the music, and you hit it and you present it with respect for the music. The emotions and the genuine reactions of audience must be different than when you just kind of sing.
Yeah, because we're there with them. We're there, I think, feeling the same thing. When we hit it, that as a performer, when you hit something and you're in the zone, right? You're in that, you have that feeling where we're in that moment. We're totally with this. They're with us too. They're feeling what we're doing, right, and singing along with us, or just having this, some kind of an emotional reaction to it as well. Yeah, there's nothing like that. That's what we're all missing, right? Isn't that what we're missing?
Yes.
That connection. Yeah, that physical. It was Dave Grohl, right, that said that 86,000 people are at that stadium, and there's 86,000 different emotions happening at the same time, yet you're all experiencing something. So that level of energy, pull and tug with one another. I miss that terribly, of course.
And when we do reopen at Grand, in a way, I feel like it's almost an advantage because the theater was intimate to begin with.
Yeah.
And obviously when we put in socially distanced seating, it's going to be real intimate. The crowd will be 200, 250, somewhere in that neighborhood. But even in that space, it won't feel half empty. Even though there are a lot of seats not in use, it's still got that. It'll still have that feel. Whereas a larger venue may feel a little cavernous, and
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. It's why I've never questioned, but that we would be ready as soon as we can be ready, Oh,
you will. You'll still be, and because we're there, we're ready. We're so wanting to be a part of that and have that experience again with each other, because we all miss each other, right? Doing my last show, I didn't know that was it for a while. I had no idea. I already told my band, we all, talk through Facebook. We have, some private groups that we're on together. We will sit and text or whatever. But I said, I make no apology to, after the first song, that I am not literally on a puddle, in a puddle on the floor. I make no, and they all laughed, but they're all, say, yeah, I get it. It's that same thing that to have those moments again where we just look at each other. And we get to look out at you and at the audience again to have that connection. We're all, you can put two people out there. I don't care. It doesn't matter who's there. It's just having that connection, when it's time. when it's time for him to be back.
Which brings me to, I guess, the salient point that I should have maybe led off with. I haven't seen you, friend, in a while. How are you doing?
Oh, you know what? It's really hard to be, it's hard for me to be, I'm sad, of course, about not touring. Like, you know, we all are, because it's the money that's coming in for us is not obviously anymore. You're not doing your job. You don't get paid, but I'm with my family. I don't get to do that as much. I'm gone over 150 days out of the year. So having family dinner every night, my son has shot up. He's almost 5'2". You know, so I get to be there. He's 11. You should laugh, because I'm never going to leave the road until that boy's through college, because he eats more than the house. Like, he's done eating and what's next? You know, he's ready. But, you know, I get to be there and help him with his guitar lessons, although I think he's way surpassed me. Voice lessons. He's going to do some acting classes this summer. You know, we're cooking together. We go on family walks every single night, whatever it is, but I get to be a part of his homeschooling. It seems mundane maybe to someone else, but he had a science experiment yesterday where we went out in the yard to pick up rocks and put vinegar on them to see which ones had limestone, because not everything most does, but you know, whatever. And it was just like the most fun thing. So I don't get to experience all of those things all the time. So I'm okay. Silver lining. I'm doing all right. You know, I've watched a lot of television, which I don't do very often. So yes, I've seen, I won't watch that Tiger King. I have no interest. I'm sorry for anybody that likes that.
I'm going to be one of those.
I'm not a reality TV person. I don't necessarily like that. Like cooking shows, yes, but not, I don't want to see the worst of humanity. Yeah. I don't want to see the worst of us. I like seeing the best of us. Personally. But we're using Disney Plus. So we're taking him back and watching like the Shaggy Dog, which is appropriate for all of the men right now, right? The Shaggy Dog, the Absent-Minded Professor, you know, all those. So I'm good.
My guilty pleasure for this so far, my great COVID accomplishment, is that Carol and I, when we went into this thing, I had seen one Avengers movie, Iron Man.
Oh, me too.
I've now seen all of them. We just went right through them.
Oh, because it's on Disney Plus. You're right, and it's got them in the right order. There's an order. Everyone tells me that we have to watch.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's chronological order, and then there's the order of release, and you got to go in the order of release. Most people, like that. But now that I've done that, it seems I still got time on my hands. Maybe I'll go back and watch chronological order. Who knows?
Oh, were you pleased?
What I have to figure out that I know you can relate to, I have a piano right here, and I haven't touched it yet.
Oh no, you got to get over on that.
I have no good excuse. It's sitting here in the room. And I just, you know, I need to, there's still quarantine goals.
You need to sing. You need to sing, my friend. I know you do. Well, and I will admit, I was not feeling that wanting to sing thing. I didn't have that, even though I will walk around humming all the time. I just wasn't sitting down. And then one of my good friends in my neighborhood, it was her daughter's 16th birthday. And I know how much she loves musical theater. And I said, what are her favorite shows? And she said Les Mis, or not Les Mis, I'm sorry, Phantom and Saigon. And so I just recorded a couple songs and sent them to her on video for a happy birthday, you know, playing and singing, because I can do that. And the next day she said, oh my gosh, she loved it. Also, do you teach lessons? And I was like, well, yeah, but I'm never free. I was like, oh yeah, I am free. Yes, I can.
Time right now, yeah.
So I think I've been with her for 5 weeks now. And so every week I'm playing along, you know, she's giving me music that she wants to learn for school, but it's making me go back and get excited about all of this musical theater music to share with her. So it's made me sit down and play again, and I wasn't. So that's what kind of gave me the kick in the pants to do that. So yeah, you need to as well. I'd love to hear you, and I can go offline. I'd love to hear you sing. I'll play for you.
There you go. There you go. All right, now let's swing it back. First of all, I neglected to ask you to tell folks who have joined us tonight where you are.
Oh, I am. I never tell exactly where I'm at because, I have just because I have a child, but I'm in a northern suburb of Chicago.
That's good enough. That's close enough. You're in the Midwest.
Yeah. I'm in the Midwest. Yes.
So let's bring this around. I alluded to it, but I didn't cover the fact that you have actually a very, very broad vocal range. There's virtually, you could sing what you want to sing.
Yes.
But you perform the music of the Carpenters mostly when you're on the road.
Yes.
And that's a very, that's a percentage of your range.
Yes.
What sends you there? What is it about? Let's connect you to the Carpenters.
Well, for me, it wasn't just, it wasn't about an image. I think that's what it was for me. So many artists, it's about an image. And I think with them, what I related to the most is it was about the music. Mm-hmm. And I have so many stories of bands I turned down back then based on, people smoking. They showed me, in the venue, you could smoke back then, and, bar bands. And I said no. And then there was one where I don't want to call out the artist, but it was a major artist that I was approached by their people to come and join. And the artist isn't with us anymore, but the outfit they showed me I would have to wear, I was not going to do that. So I've always respected my voice. I've respected artistry based upon just being a musician and it not being about an image. So Karen never left me. I always had that range, and her music just it touched me so much. And I was a Division I swimmer, so I was a full scholarship swimmer. And I remember when she passed, how it didn't make any sense to me that someone would do that to themselves with anorexia, and anorexia was not talked about. And I thought she had everything, right? It appeared as if she had everything. Right. And so I think the story, the compelling part of that just always stuck with me. But then her voice, it was truly simple. It's just singing. Because if you listen to those isolated tracks of her voice, that's what it was about. And so every time I came back to it, I did a show. My first time I did a show about them was in, I have to think about what year that was. 1997, when I was living in Minneapolis. And it sold out. It sold out before we even finished writing it. And it was incredible, and it brought me so much joy to do it. And when I came back here, when I moved here to Chicago, I'm from Ohio originally. And when I came to Chicago, I had sold out a different show at a theater, and they said, "Hey, do you have anything else?" And I said, "You know what? I've always wanted to revisit the Carpenters." And the show that I had before was very multimedia, and it wasn't, it really wouldn't have been a good road show, basically. Mm-hmm. So this one, I said, I really just want to do a concert of their music, with us in it, doing everything in the original key. And the first downbeat of the first song, the first time we did it, I knew it. I knew we had something special. Mm-hmm. And I've never gotten tired of singing this stuff. And I find something else special about it every single time. It just shoots right to your heart. It shoots right to your soul in such a way.
What's your favorite Carpenters tune to listen to and to perform? And they might be two different songs.
Oh, that's hard. I get asked that a lot. That's a tough one. I think as a band, because I'll speak for the band, I think as a band, our lock during the show, like a lock-in moment for us when we're all like in that groove. Because the first one, you're so excited, you're just walking out, is when we do Superstar. Mm-hmm. There's something about that it's always haunting. It's always haunting every single time. So listening and singing it. But Song for You is just something else. It's just an otherworldly experience, but close to you. I mean, see, and then I'm going to start, then I'm going to go, but with Rainy Days. So there's something for all of us too, I think, in the band. I think the band would all have different experiences, but we start singing some of these. You saw they're clapping, they're singing, and different things mean different, that's why we never tire of it, because it's different every night. What the audience.
It is one of those where you find the audience singing along for a good chunk of the night.
Oh, yeah.
We should tell. I suppose you should. You're okay to sing along tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah.
Tune in right at the Grand at Home for the full-length concert. We're talking about almost a 2-hour concert.
Yeah.
Even got a little intermission in there, which is great. That was very kind of as you put that together.
It was, right? I love that. I love the intermission. I was like, oh, I can go get some more popcorn and enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, is there a song in the sets that you do perform that was particularly vexing to get under it? And
Yeah, the one that I think a lot of people know it very well, but not everyone. People go, oh, that was them. Only yesterday, after long enough of being alone.
Right.
There was a certain, and it was the three of us. It was the three voices together that took that. That to me was getting the beat of that, like getting that the harmonies together. But that breathing together thing, because they're not next to me. No one's standing next to me. I'm out front, and so I think for that. It wasn't necessarily a rhythm thing as much as really wanting to lock that sound of them in there, because those voices, when you go back and listen to the Carpenters, that's her. It's not, there's not some mystery backup singer. They replicated her voice. Richard, I shouldn't say she did. Richard did that. And so she's singing against herself. So of course it sounds amazing. Of course it's a perfect lock, right?
Now, it's not fair to I'm overgeneralizing with the term I'm going to use, but you're going to explain it, so it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Richard Carpenter was kind of the brains of the outfit.
Yes. Yes.
In many ways.
Yes. So that back then there was a 4-track. So you've got a 4-track. If you listen to their stuff, those are 16 tracks. So he went reel to reel. Then went back and recorded reel to reel. Think about that, how long that took to go 4 stacked, then 4 stacked, then 4, painstaking. And it was known between the two of them that Karen loved being on the road and Richard wanted to be back at the studio. He loved being in the studio and doing and he was a master at it. He was an absolute master at that. And so that was his absolutely, and he heard things, he just heard that and was able to do things like that. And it's incredible. It's still incredible to this day when you listen to those arrangements. That's why they've stood the test of time. We just had a 50-year anniversary.
That's right.
Close to you. 50 years this year.
Yeah, that's remarkable.
Yeah, I know.
Did Richard ever perform solo after Karen passed?
Very, very few. He was at the induction very few times. He was at the induction for them at the Hall of Fame at the Hollywood Bowl. Donna Summer, that was, I think, the year or two before she passed. She did Superstar. He played with a full orchestra. If you haven't seen that, anybody out there, or you, Joe, go look. Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. But no, he's not. That's not his. And I get that it changed. Things changed without her, and someone that you started it with, right? And it's your sibling. The two of them did all of that together. So that's not really something that he does, and I can't even imagine the music that would be in him still.
Right. That's so true. That's so true.
Yeah.
Let's walk away from this show for a second. We will obviously come back to it.
Absolutely.
In the big introduction I gave you, one of the things that has come more of late, you have been, when I met you, you were a self-presented artist.
Yes.
Right. And so for folks listening, it means you got your act. You didn't work through an agent. You were your own agent. I doubt I made the deal with you. But somewhere along the way, you became an agent.
I did.
Now you have a family of people that you book.
Now I have a family of people that I'm working with. So, I love what I do so much. And I think that every other artist deserves to get to make a living at it. It's a thrill. We're all full time at this. My band has, some of them are in other bands as well. But we are all full-time musicians. That's what we do. They either teach music or they tour with me. That's what we all do. And so I have other friends, some that are, two of them actually that will tour with me from time to time, that have their own bands and had their own things going, that I said, well, when you're not on the road with your show, why don't you be on the road with me? And, back and forth. And then I said, why don't I help you do what I do? And then I thought, oh, here we go. I should probably maybe open my own agency and help them do what I do. And it was kind of a seamless transition for me because they're my friends. And it was, and they're just so ridiculously talented. I have Tina Napinelli, who's one of my singers, who has her own show, Tapestry Unraveled, the music of Carole King. It's
a very good one. We'll see it someday in Oshkosh.
You will. I appreciate that. And then I have who you had on a few weeks ago, Natalie Cordone, who has The Start of Something Big, the music of Stephen Eady, and also another dear friend, she and Sean Kilgore, just dear friends, just so ridiculously talented. And then I have Mark Sanders has his Barry Manilow, One Voice, the music of Barry Manilow show. And they're just, each show does the same thing that I do. They honor and they have the same love and passion for the artists that they are honoring. And I can't imagine, I want to work with them. I wanted to work with them, and it's not a hard sell for what they do. When someone loves what they do, right? Hi, Nat. When someone else loves what they do the way that you do it, it's not selling at all. It's just sharing. And that's how I feel about what I'm doing, is I'm just sharing with people like you, that what I do. So that I have top-notch musicians. So I'm not going to represent something that's not absolutely incredible. So it's a different hat, but it's really not, because it's just me. And I didn't know that until I went to their shows. And then as I sat there, I was more nervous watching them and more excited than I ever expected to be. Like, it was this, and I'm like, I didn't make these shows. They did this on their own, but I was so just loved being a part of that. And I'm like, I don't necessarily have to be up there to have that same love and passion, being an advocate for them. So it's an absolute thrill. And, when the time comes later and I have to pass a torch, I got 40 years in me, at least. It's going to be a while. But I can see doing this because I love music and I love bringing it to people, and I love bringing these top-notch, acts like this.
Now, this was your first year as an agent?
Yeah, I guess technically, right?
Well, good. Let's have a toast to your timing.
Wow. Cheers to that.
What you say has a lot. I mean, I totally understand. I totally understand. I remember.
Don't waste good wine. What are you doing? You almost wasted good wine.
Years ago, when I first booked the pianist Alpin Hall, and it took me forever because I wanted a certain type of pianist for the grand stage. I didn't want. I had been a concert pianist for a hot second, and I knew, that you could have all the skill, and if you're playing at people, it's just not the same. That was my opinion, but I was the one making the decisions. So when I found Alpin, who has that personality that reaches out before things and has the ability to be, has all the chops, but can be a little irreverent about it when the time comes. I knew that was the artist I wanted to put on stage. And the first time he played, then smoked the keyboard. Someone who knew that I had been, had this in my background said, how do you feel, watching someone else get up on that stage? And does it bother you to see that, this guy is so great? And I'm like, I wrote the check. At the end of the night, I know it's great, and there's a great joy in just helping is one thing, hiring, whatever it is we're doing.
There really is, because I know what I do, and I know how often I get to do that, right? Like, I'm on the road constantly and always, able to do my thing. And when you're at your best, I don't know that everyone has their life philosophy, right? And I think, at least for me, I'm proud of where I am. Like if that had been my last show in February, I'm proud of the career that I made. I'm proud of how I've treated people. I'm proud, in general of who and what I represent. And for me, nothing's more beautiful than when you get to do the thing you're best at, and to get to see other people do that and to celebrate that. It's an honor. It's an honor to represent them and do that. I am the person that I don't enjoy that you can have the best filet mignon or the best piece of, sea bass or whatever. But if someone else isn't sitting at the table and taking a bite with you, it doesn't taste as good, does it?
One of my members once said that the favorite thing he heard an audience member say as they were leaving one of his shows was she turned to her companion and said to her, "Wouldn't it have been a shame if we had missed that?" Because it's just it's that moment. So
it is. And so I feel that way.
Someone's really shouting out to you tonight. So,
aw, thanks.
So the feeling you have for the music of the Carpenters obviously shows in the singing. I suppose I should tell that story too. That I decided to book your show before I actually saw your show. I was wandering the halls at a conference.
How we didn't meet. This is how we didn't meet.
And I had actually seen, I don't know if you know this part, but I had seen you a little bit the year before in one of those little tiny rooms. Carol and I went and sat in for a little while. For me, it didn't work in the room. I was too busy focusing on stuff, right? But then the next year, I'm walking down the hallway, and I just hear this, and I hear it, and I'm like, "That's Karen Carpenter," and I'm like, in my mind, I don't know that I was thinking of that so much of the vocal as I was thinking of the interpretation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it grabbed me, and so I wandered in, and Lord knows it was you,
Thanks.
The rest is history.
I'm glad you did it sight unseen.
Right.
I should say too, just because I never, I forget. I have an 80s show as well it's called 80s Night Out. Mm-hmm. So it's me and one of my whichever female singer is available for me to come on the road. It could be Natalie, it could be Tina, but that we go out on the road and do that as well. So that's all 80s songs, 80s ladies. Type thing. So that's where you get to hear that I have a different range.
A whole different thing happens there.
Yes, like we were talking about. And then we get to dress up in 80s clothes, which is the best.
I didn't like dressing up in 80s clothes in the 80s, but okay.
No. They're back. Have you seen the children? Have you seen the... I'm literally like, I saw some kids, and it's funny, one of my bandmates, who's one of my younger ones, although he'll be 30 soon, but this was a few years ago, and he walked in and he had on these red acid wash jeans. And I was like, "Oh, dude, so cool. You got jeans for the show." And he looked down and he looked up at me, he goes, "Oh, these are my jeans." And I was like, okay. All right. So it's now come around full circle that the clothes I wore in high school are now on. Oh yeah, you're 20 years younger than me.
Well, fortunately, although I am rocking the 70s hairdo right now, the 70s clothes are long gone.
Oh yeah. You sure?
Yeah, no polyester for me.
Nothing in there? No. Oh, I don't miss that. I remember. Yeah, but the 80s, right? You look around, everybody's got it on. Everybody's wearing 80s stuff now. All the high schoolers. I'm like, no. It was fun, absolutely. But it's hilarious that it's like a thing. You see those neon colors again and just go that's amazing. Fantastic.
Right. Lisa, as I start to talk, I weekly get online alone and do question and answer and kind of report in from the stage. One of the things that I've begun to start to think out loud about with our audiences is, we're close through Labor Day. We're going to hopefully reopen on September the 12th. That's the plan.
Good.
Today.
Okay. But again, we're all going with our state guidelines, everything that we can do. Yeah.
And it's easy it's easy to get my head around what's going to be different so that I can start preparing people for that. We talk about social distancing and half the seats are going to be gone to be in groups of twos or threes or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's also traffic in a place like the Grand. There's choke points, as people are all trying to get in from the lobby or they're all trying to get up to the bar, and everything needs a different feel. So that and some of it is, of course we want the place to be safe, but also it's a comfort thing. We want people to be comfortable.
Correct.
Coming to the theater because they don't necessarily have to do it, right?
Yeah.
So we'll get through that, and and as we start to talk about those things, and as I start to talk to colleagues and think about things, that's it's going to change probably forever. But from the artist's end, what are you cooking up? What are you feeling about meet and greets or backstage or things like that? How do you think that's going to change or evolve?
A lot. Yeah, I'm very I feel very mindful of the audience anyways, like it's when we do a lot of shows, but we have a huge chunk at Christmas. And so that's a big flu season in the Midwest, right? That's a big cold and flu season. And I've always been very cautious. And every one of my singers will tell you every time, whatever female singer is with me, I'll say, wash your hands afterwards, because because we've shook literally hundreds of people's hands. They love to hug us, which I do as well. I think that's going to be, that's my big one. And you're a hugger too. Yeah. Those, and I've seen all those memes about it, check on your friends that are huggers. It's hard. Like I will miss that part of it, but I'm so hyper aware that my audience is 55 plus. Yes, there's people under 50. Yes, it's up to people what they do, but I'm more concerned about my passing something for the amount of travel that I do throughout the country. So
I'm remembering a conversation that you and I had in March. I don't know why we were just talking about something or other, but I was deciding to close down the theater, and we were talking, and you were talking about, and we were talking about how artists are also driving this decision. And I don't have to necessarily decide because artists are going off the road.
Oh, we'll tell you. Yeah, we'll tell you what we need.
And I think you said something like, I don't want to be the person that brings the coronavirus to Oshkosh, or you know what I mean?
Correct. Yeah.
So there's a whole nother side to this thing right now, and it's going to be interesting.
And I'm in a big city. That's the other thing is and we're basically considered a hotspot. Being in the Chicagoland area is a hotspot. I know that we're the first state that actually has met the actual federal, because I know other states are opening up, and there's nothing, there's no controversy to anything, but we're the only state that has actually met the federal guidelines to move into the next phase. Mm-hmm. And none of us are going out. Like, go right ahead. Because I really am terrified to be that one. I don't want to do that. I don't want to come to a town. I have several shows that are holding on to us coming there in the fall and winter. And I'm, willing to work with all of them about us doing them or postponing, whatever it is. I'm going to be 100% transparent about their comfort and ours. But places that have 0 cases, I don't want to leave and then suddenly they have cases. Yeah. So the safety of our audience, the safety of our band, that is because, and no one wants to open and then close.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
That's the part of it. So I think if we keep following the guidelines of everything, but maybe meet and greets aren't the best idea for a while. Maybe backstage access is limited to everyone that's been had the temp checks or whatever is medically deemed necessary to show that, or that everyone's been quarantined. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, or a scientist, but I want to follow that guideline, to a T, because I really, I don't want to come to Oshkosh. That's my mother lives there. So listen.
I've been toying around with the idea of doing a moderated Q&A at the end of shows instead of a meet and greet.
I like that. I like that a lot. And I've seen people talking about not having the first 5 rows, or I was talking to someone from another entertainment company a few days ago, and they were talking, how we have band shells for the drums, maybe having a band shell on the stage which I don't know how that would work. Like, what could we do? What about a scrim?
Hard to
we're in
say,
theater.
Yeah.
Maybe
See,
there's
I haven't really dealt a lot with that because if you remember, we have the orchestra pit area with no
you
seats.
do. Yours is not going to have
a good 10, 12, 15 feet between the star position on stage and the front row.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
I'm lucky in that respect. But what I'm conscious of is, when we have the choke point of people going to a meet and greet in the lobby, that's
probably not.
Yeah. So there's got to be a plan B.
I sign 100 CDs and leave them out front.
Exactly.
Let people, if they want them, let them, there's a fishbowl, throw it in, take a CD, do whatever they, honor system, fine by me. And if I stand on the stage at the end of the show and they're down below 15 feet and they do a reverse, we take selfies where I'm waving in the background.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really, and that's the other thing is I want the audience to be comfortable because I don't, right. What's the sales lesson? You have a customer, you can have a customer for a lifetime, but it can take a moment to lose them forever.
Yeah. That's so true.
One moment that you have a misstep, they will never come back. And I don't want to be a part of that narrative. I want to make sure that we do this together. All of us do this in some way together.
I've been pretty lucky here. I mean,
your setup is
our governing board has been really good about. I've taken pretty much the stand. We were one of the first. We were ready to close when we had to close. We were online with this series within a week, and we've been online for 9 weeks now. Oh
my gosh, is it 9 weeks?
Mid-March.
Does it not feel like 9 months?
Yes.
Is it not?
Well, it's sad. Now, truthfully, I sat yesterday after I did the update, and I first mentioned this whole "it's been 9 weeks" thing, and I thought it's got to be at least 9 more weeks before Labor Day in September. And I'm like, there's 14 more weeks. I'm not halfway through this yet. I'm not halfway through this close yet. And
wow, 9 weeks.
Yeah.
So I guess that didn't even hit me.
Yeah, we've got to come up with some ideas to get through that interim until we hit Labor Day. And
what about the park across the street from? I've been looking at that. Do you have a drive-in anywhere nearby?
No, but I have looked into areas where a drive-in concert could happen.
What about the aviation? Look at the airport.
One of the things too, though, that I'm thinking of is and looking at is, and it's one of the reasons I looked at your show that's going to be on tomorrow and love the quality of that work is maybe what I have to do is sell 220 tickets to a show and then have a pay-per-view.
Yes.
One night only, at the same time, live, and then it's over. So it's to cover all of the, but boy, you want to talk about diving into an area that's brand new at an advanced stage. This old dog's got a lot of new tricks to learn.
Hey, yes. But I think too, like I admire that people are looking at that, right? I admire that they're going to, that Keith Urban, I think, is the first one that did that, but he was doing it at that drive-in 40 miles east of Nashville for the first responders. That's what he was doing. Right. And it was only, I think, maybe 125 people, but it kicked something off. And he was in his warehouse with just his wife and sound tech person. There were only the three of them in his warehouse, just doing anything to do 30-minute things. It's a lot. It's a lot to try to rethink something that we had mastered in the first place, right? Well, and we're always changing.
I'm even thinking of this format, and I get better at it when we do it. But it's me clicking the computer. These little comments come up because I'm clicking them. Thank you, Debbie. Loved your show.
Thank you, Debbie.
But we've got to figure out all this new stuff as we go along.
Yeah.
But I don't see any alternative. I can't sit paralyzed either. We've got to.
And I don't think you have. I think that's what I admire. You're doing something every week, and I think that makes a difference. It's not just reminding people about what you did, but it's reminding them that you're willing to change with whatever you need to do to continue this, because art is oxygen. It's not it's not like bread and right. It's not some added whipped cream. It's oxygen. We need it. And it's what's gotten everyone through is, we were talking about the television shows or films that we've watched during this, those are artists, those are all artists that created that, right, for us.
Well, yeah. And it almost seems like, when the whole thing hit, and it was very obvious, we had people that needed to be fed. We had kids that needed to be taught. We had all and that.
Still do, yeah.
And now as we start to look at the other end of it, it's like, well, we're going to be front and center when the time comes that people want to get out again. We better be ready.
Oh yeah. And how do we do it?
So.
Safely. Yeah, I've seen, and I did talk to Josh about that with the sound, where everyone's worried about sound quality for, if they do a drive-in thing. And I absolutely agree with that. But I was talking to some neighbors and they said, oh, I don't care if it's good. We just want anything. And I was like, oh, that's it. Because we're as the artists, right? And the presenter, we're perfectionists about it. But for them, they're like, no, I don't care. If I can only hear one word, it's enough. It's just something because I can't be in my house any longer. And I was like, oh, that's interesting because I have a deck out back. I can sneak around maybe and show you, I think. Do you see that? I
do, yes.
So I have a deck that my piano player is going to come in and we're going to do some what we're calling deck duos real soon. And for the neighbors, and I said, well, I'm going to put a tip jar on the ground. You guys can't come up, but you can absolutely.
It's sadly the Grand sits on that High Avenue is a highway.
Yeah.
So closing it off is complicated.
Yes, it would be.
And it's a shame because I have a little balcony above the marquee.
Oh, you're right.
And, and so who knows? I'm not done coming up with ideas yet. And believe me, if I somehow can't open in mid-September, there'll be more ideas happening. So.
Oh, yeah. And we're all on board with you. Whatever that is. And I feel like that's something that I'm proud of for the presenters and for the artists. We're like, you tell us what you need to do and how you need, how we can, collaborate together to make this happen because we all want to be alive.
It really is. The whole idea of collaborating has gotten to be, the longer it goes, the more we're realizing that's the way to it. So, so we are getting towards the bottom of the hour for people who may be watching us and don't know what this means, what a full-length concert of Close to You would be like. Just walk us through it a little bit.
I'm not going to get misty about it. How's that?
I got you off camera, so you're okay. If I see you getting misty, I'm going to put you on camera.
No, put the Close to You logo up so I don't have to.
You're up. You're safe.
For us. The show, it's all about the Carpenters' 15 number one hits that they had on the adult contemporary, plus some, and then stories about them that we have from the biographer, from fans, from family members of band members, from other people that knew them. And we share all of those stories and things that we've done through the years too, all of the wonderful stories that we've kind of come up with, the things that have happened to us on the road all of that time. And so that's, you get to see our family, our band family up there, sharing the music and sharing our love of the Carpenters and our love of touring with our audience. And our audience definitely takes part with us. It's always been an interactive show. And this one really shows through on that. I couldn't be more proud of our friend Josh Benson for what he did for us.
He did a fabulous job.
He really did.
Everybody who enjoys this thing is going to owe him a thank you for getting that done. All right,
yes.
Wipe your eyes. You're coming back on.
This is why I put on very little makeup. I was like, I'm not going to get sad. And I'm like, maybe a little. It's okay. I miss them. I miss that, and that moment, right? We all know this. We walk in. You're that person at the venue. As soon as we start loading in, your hands out, we're hugging, we're saying hi, you're walking me in, we're talking, we're catching up. The band's getting everything on stage, your crew, all the guys are talking with each other, right? And then we get sound check, we go downstairs, we have amazing, meal like we do and hang out together. And then we hear the audience coming in, you feel that, you can feel that excitement. And that's when I watched it, I cried quite a bit during my own show.
Well, I do want to tell people a couple things about it. First of all, obviously, you can find your way to the Grand online from the Grand's website, or from the Grand's Facebook page, or the Grand at Home has its own Facebook group. We're out there all over the place right now. But also, I think this is important, and I want to make sure I shout it out here, and it'll be much more visible tomorrow night, is that you're providing this for free.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a wonderful gift. But if someone is inspired to say, hey, this is a gigging artist who's not gigging right now,
yes,
maybe we should buy a ticket or have some support. We're going to have a link that is 100% going to your organization. Yes, to the band.
Yes, to the band.
So if you are watching tomorrow and you feel the desire, know that, and this is a shift for the Grand at Home too. We at one point we're splitting it because I was worried about our next meal, but and I'm still worried about that. But the point now is that we've got to focus on the artists. So we're starting to do donations that are 100% to the artist, and I think
you're a gentleman.
I think that this will be a great opportunity for people to do that.
Thank you.
So as we get to the end here, when's your first gig? What's your first book gig right now? And do you think it's going to happen? That's what I get all the time.
There's one. I'm not sure about this one not going because of where it is. It's in Utah, and it's in July, and we haven't moved it yet. I don't know. Well, actually, it's Idaho, but it's a Brigham Young, in Idaho. I don't know. I don't know because of it's a alumni weekend for them. So I'm not sure if they're going to move it. We haven't moved it, but we've of course discussed, like I have with every single venue, that if we need to postpone, we're totally fine with that. Everything's fine. We're behind whatever they need, whatever we need. It's a very mutual decision, and I have heard nothing but that out there. So I want. I'm so proud of us. I don't know if I didn't get a chance to say that, Joe. I'm proud of our industry. I know from other people that, we're not necessarily getting the loans and the government help that we all deserve to get because of by nature of what we do. But the industry itself, of how we're supporting each other, I could not be more proud of the relationships that we have with one another, and the absolute respect of, hey, we're gonna just rebook this, and you keep the deposit, or I'm like, well, I can give the deposit, whatever it is. Just everyone has been just top notch, and I could not be more proud of all of us.
And we have to continue to be. I mean, things are still. I mean, it's not done.
It's still up in the air. It's going to be a while, but I think my first gig
yesterday I moved another show. And I had a touring company say, we're not going on the road this fall, and so from both ends, the schedule's just going to change. And I'm grateful to the audiences who are patient, people who have tickets for a show that we're moving, who are just like, okay.
And you're moving it again. You're just moving it again. We're pushing it forward to the next one, and that's fine. Yeah, so I have that one, and then I have September, October, November. I have shows all the way booked through into 2021, of course, already, into December of 2021, of things that literally just flip to the next year. So I don't know. I'm hopeful of, if they have the facility in Idaho, I think has the ability to social distance at it's quite large. Like it could fit thousands. So I think what they anticipated numbers that we could potentially do it, and it would still be appropriately safe for everyone and give them what they were actually wanting. So we're going to continue to follow what they say. And, when we're out there, you'll know, I'll let you know, because you'll see, I'll send you my my tear stained shirt. And
well, in the meantime, enjoy the family time. All right. And
thank you.
I just want to point out
you
again,
as well.
And that tomorrow night here at the Grand at Home channel, where the show must go online. You'll have a full-length concert to enjoy tomorrow night. You won't see Lisa or me in this way. You won't see me at all, but you'll see plenty of Lisa and her fabulous band, and that'll be a great night. I'm looking forward to it. In the meantime, Lisa Rock, thanks so much for being with us today, and enjoy the rest of your night.
Joe Ferlo, giving you a virtual hug too, my friend.
That sounds good. Be well.
Thank you. You too.
Till the next time.
Bye.